Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So welcome back to the Bhagavad Gita discussion on the Sarartha Varshani Tika, which is the commentary by Vishwanath Chakra Thakur, and the Rasika Rajan commentary, which is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's sub-commentary on the Sarartha Varshani Tika. So yesterday we completed the section, uh, second last of the sections, how Karma Yoga elevates. So after answering Arjuna that instead of buddhi, which is gyan, perform Nishkam Karma Yoga, and with the purification of the antakaran, you will get the adhikar to come to the jnana platform. So now you have adhikar for karma, so perform karma. And if you are not, you feel that you are not qualified from Nishkam Karma Yoga, then practice karma kand and come to the platform of Nishkam Karma Yoga. And if you think you are qualified for Gyan, still practice Karma Yoga to set an example. Come down from Jnana Yoga to Nishkam Karma Yoga. And then is brought out the difference between Karma Kanda and Karma Yoga. And ultimately now, after instructing that, you should perform Nishkam Karma Yoga, and the conclusion he has cited in verse 30, Mayi Sarvani Karmani, you know, and he has instructed very clearly, Sanyas Adhyatma Chetasa. So Sanyas Adhyatma Chetasa refers to in the Bhagavad Gita 2.47 what? Let us see who will answer. Sanyas Adhyatma Chetasa, Sanyas, especially Sanyas, refers to what in 2.47? Because in 2.47, Nishkam Karma Yoga discussion began. So what does Sanyas at least mean? You know? Very simple question I'm asking. Not a very philosophical question. Sannyas in Nishkama Karma Yoga 2.47. What is sannyas there? What it is, what is Lord instructing in 2.47? Again, if you want, I'll repeat what is 2.47. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturbur ma te sangostvi akarmani. So that's the 2.47 where Nishkam Karma Yoga discussion began. So what is sannyasa? In 3.30, Krishna told, sannyasa adhyatma chechasa. So in this verse, what is sannyasa here? Where is sannyasa in 2.47? I hope now my question is still more clear. Who will answer? What is sannyasa? Shri Lalita Mataji. Yeah, since you have raised the hand first. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I'll
Yes.
try Prabhu.
Your
Yeah.
audio is
So
not
he
working.
tells Hare
Only not
Krishna.
mine.
Hare
No,
Krishna.
your audio is not working,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Prabhu, it's all
No.
in normal. I think, is anybody else able to
Maybe
hear
you
me?
type it. I'll understand from your answer. Type it what it is because your audio is not working. Navneet Kalra Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji Dandot. Am I audible?
Oh, here also it's not working. That means there is some problem with me. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, it was from my end. Yeah,
Hare
now it
Krishna,
should work.
Prabhuji.
Yes, now it is functioning. Yes. What is
Am I audible?
sannyas into? Yes, very clear.
I'll try, Prabhuji, that you are entitled to karma, not the fruits.
So sannyasa. So what is that line in this verse? You've answered. What is that line in this verse?
This ma
Yeah.
karma phala hetur.
No, ma phaleshu kadachana.
Ma phaleshu
Ma
kadata. Okay.
ah, you renounce the fruits of your action. Sannyas, that is sannyasa. And he has now gone deeper in 3.30, where Adhi Atma, fix your consciousness in the self and Yuddhasva. So you fight. So now how Karma Yoga is going to elevate? Krishna spoke in 5 verses. Krishna spoke in 5 verses. We saw that by following this instruction, you will what? What will happen? Muchante sarva karma bhi. By following this instruction of what he had told in 3.30. 3.30. It is, Yuddhasva. By this, what will happen? You will become free from karma. But one who doesn't follow these instructions of Nishkam Karma Yoga or 3.30, Sarvagayan Mumudatman Vidhi Nashtan Achetasa. So he is given by contrast, and I said this is a sign of love. Love means freedom. Freedom means you give choice. So yesterday we discussed. And then he said, Arjuna, your nature is of a Kshatriya. And everyone does cheshta, swasya means, based on his swabhava, even the jnanavanapi. And all are born according to their nature, zak according to prakriti myanti. So you cannot, you cannot nigraha, you cannot do nigraha of your that nature of kshatriya. But you should what? Ultimately regulate your vasanas, because they are stumbling blocks. That he speaks in 3.34. They are stumbling blocks in the path of self-realization. So there is the difference between the psychophysical nature, which is, cannot be repressed, but the vasanas have to be, regulated. Otherwise, when if you come under the sway of the vasanas, tayorna vashamaje, tohi asya paripantan, there will be great stumbling blocks in the path of self-realization and in our practice of Krishna consciousness. And then it is best, Shreyan, to follow one's own dharma, even if there is some fault. But to be situated in another dharma, you know, uh, perfectly. And by performing one dharma, even if there is destruction, it is Shreya. But to perform others' duty is full of danger. So this is a very important verse. So I gave the example of how Arjuna as a sannyasi, he takes up to Gyan and he's begging as a sadhu and somebody hurls some words. So immediately Kshatriya spirit will come and he will kill him. Then, doing that, it will lead to his destruction, He will glide to the hellish planets. Whereas if he kills that same Kshatriya spirit nature in a Dharma Yuddha, he will go to Swarga or he'll attain Mahim. Hato va prapsasi sarvam jitva va mokshasi mahim. 3.2.37. So that's what Krishna instructed. So that's why Shreyas, that's what he instructed. Now, based on this discussion, Arjuna has a question. Atakyana prayuktayam papam charati purusha atichanapi varshneya baladiva nirisa. So he's asking about these vasanas, which have to be regulated, otherwise they are stumbling blocks. So why does a person engage in sin, although he is unwilling, as if by force? What is the reason? Now Krishna begins, and this series is a very important series, which we are going to discuss today. So now the Lord answers. Kamesha Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Kamesha Krodesha Rajaguna Samudbhava Mahashano Mahapapma Vidhi Vidhi Enam Iha Vairinam. The Lord said, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, it is lust and then anger. Kamaesha, Krodesha. Arising from the mode of passion. Raja Guna Samudbhava. Knowing this, Vidhi. So do you remember when Vidhi comes, when Krishna says Vidhi, what is the mood? What is the mood in the preaching? What mood it is exhibiting? I had told that. What mood it is. I hope you remember. I remember I told this in a previous class. Anyone knows? And Krishna is saying Vidhi. Vidhi means, okay, I don't know, this projector is connected because we have our classes. That's why this projector was required, but now we don't need. I'll just directly play. Yeah. So Vidhi, when Krishna says Vidhi, what does it mean? When Vidhi he's saying, what is it? What is the bhav and the mood? What the bhav means in the real deeper meaning. Anyone? Veer Krishnaji, are you there with us? Veer Krishnaji?
No, bro, I don't remember.
Okay. Vidhi means when you try to understand, you have to become now very alert and careful and try here very attentively. Try to understand. Try to deeply understand this subject now. I'm telling you what this is. That it is kama. It is lust. Vasana is called as kama vasana, I mentioned to you, right? So this is kama, Arjuna. And it is born from the mode of passion, rising from the mode. And it is what? This kama is Mahashno and Mahapapma. Mahashno, Mahapapma. So some important concepts I put here. Mahashno, Mahapapma. Mahapapma means lust men into monsters and women into witches. So you become literally a monster. Sometimes there are instances of, it is here. Maha means lust devours everything, leaving nothing as sacred. So lust can devour you, completely consume you, and kill you. Just like a python can, catch a crocodile and completely devour the crocodile. There are many instances of a python. So lust is that powerful asura like that, a demon who can devour us, Mahashno and Mahapapma. You know? So that's why he is using this. And both he has used as, Ashna means devouring and Mahashna. And it is Papa, not Mahapapa. So that's what Krishna is saying. That's why Vidhi. So lust, Mahashno, how it is? Parasite, if it is in the background of our consciousness. And poison, if it is in the foreground of our consciousness. In the background of somewhere it is there, na? It is like a parasite sitting slowly, slowly to start eating us. And if it is in the front, it is poison. And why it is Visha? Because Vish is related to the word Vishaya. No. Wish kills once, but Vishaya, sense objects, once you enjoy Kam Vasana, it will make you repeatedly enjoy in this body. And because of that, you are going to get another body, and these Kam Vasanas or impressions are there in the next body. And again, you will enjoy them repeatedly, one after another bodies. Wish will kill you only once, this body. But Vishay will repeatedly kill many bodies of your future. And it will create future bodies. Kills just by contemplation without consumption. You need not consume it also. It will just, you don't need not consume. Wish you have to actually consume to kill yourself. But Vishaya is just by contemplation kills. That's why Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsam had come. So let's see what Vishwanath Chakra Thakur has to say. Okay, somehow 2.37 is written here. It is 3.37. Lust, composed of the desire for the some subjects, impels a man to sin. Desire for sense objects. Indriya Vishaya. Indriya Vishaya it is. A man being urged by lust engages in sin, papa, mahapapma. This lust appearing in different form become visible as anger. Kama esha, krodha esha. Esha means this, this. This means that lust being unobstructed by someone transforms into anger. So when the lusty desire is not fulfilled, it transforms into anger. Transforms into anger. So the lust is in the mode of passion. Kama esha, krodha esha, rajaguna. But anger is a transformation of the mode of ignorance. So you go deeper into material existence, deeper tamas. Lust arises from the mode of passion, and from lust in the mode of passion, anger arises in the mode of ignorance. So I spoke that. I did not know that the statement is here. But after the fulfillment of desire, the desire should be finished. This is what is Arjuna asking. So once the desire is fulfilled, it's finished. So no problem. What's the problem? You might say, Arjuna is in green, Krishna is in blue, right? So now I have a question to all of you here. So there is lust in the form of a desire. Trying to improve my handling because I'm not habituated to write on this pad. Now it is fulfilled and it is not fulfilled. This leads to frustration. Yeah, desire is not fulfilled at all. It leads to frustration. Okay. This leads to frustration. Oh my goodness. So bad is the handwriting. Give me, give me a minute, please. Oh, eraser. I think the setup of that pen has to be done properly so that the coordinates are not there. That's why fulfilled. And it is not fulfilled. So fulfillment seems like, which is better among the two? Whether fulfilled or not fulfilled, which is better is my question. Who will answer this? Yes, Vinita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, none is good because when it is fulfilled, greed increases, and not fulfilled, frustration leads to anger.
No. Can you come again? What did you say?
I said none of this is good because if it is fulfilled, greed increases then.
If it is fulfilled, the greed increases.
And if it is not
This
fulfilled,
seems like,
frustration increases.
no. Among the two, we can have realization when we have frustration. Array, it's not happening, frustration. That's, we go through that difficulty. But fulfilled, we go into deeper illusion. We go into deeper illusion. So that's how, it is like that. So both are there. No. So greed is there, but this seems like, oh, it's more promising, So uh your your illusion in material existence expands. Ahocha moha vistara kama kalmasha chetana. Git Maharaj Pururava is telling because Maharaj Pururava and Urvashi, we know that past time in the ninth canto, Pururava was attached to Urvashi, the heavenly Apsara. But in the 11th canto, Krishna is glorifying Pururava because he later on got frustrated, because he lost Pururava, he lost Urvashi. She went back to the heavenly planets. So he was experiencing frustration. This can lead to, at some point, some relation, but when it is fulfilled and it is going on, no, it can lead to more and more illusion. So that's the point I just wanted to make here. So here Arjuna is saying, but after the fulfillment of desire, the desire should be finished. Krishna says, no, this lust is a great devourer. It is impossible to satisfy the expectations of desire. It is impossible, Krishna says. Because the desires keep on increasing, and even if the whole world is given to you, you will not be satisfied. Even the three worlds. As the Smriti says, understanding all that is available on earth in the form of food, yat pritvyam virhi yavam hiranyamaya pashuvam striya, gold, animals and women is not enough for one person. One should go about with a peaceful mind. Na alam ekasya tat sarvam iti matva samam prajet. So everything on the earth in the form of gold, food, animals. Animals here means now you have to say, because now in modern context it will be cars, bungalows, airplanes, everything. and women. That means even all the women on earth, if you are given also, still lust will not be satisfied. So understanding that, one should go about it in a peaceful mind. So this is from the Mahabharata, Anushashan Parva. There is a similar verse in the Bhagavatam, 9, 19, 13. I think from Pururava's pastime only, I think. Let us see. This is a footnote by Bhanu Maharaj, 9, 9, 13. Bhagavatam 9, 9, 13. I think definitely it is from Pururava. Okay, no. 13. 9, 9, 13, huh? Hey, 9, 19, 13. Sorry, that's what I was also surprised. 9, 19. 19 is Yayati. Yayati. This from Yayati. Yayati had exchanges with Yat Prithvyam Virhi Yavam Hiranmay Pashvastriya Nah Duyanti Mana Pritim Pumsa Kama Atasyate. A person who is lusty cannot satisfy his mind even if he has enough of everything in this world, including rice, barley, and other food grains, gold, animals, and women. Nothing can satisfy him. What a profound philosophical understanding. Same like Mahabharata, you know. So even if you have everything, nothing will satisfy. If it is not possible to make alliance with lust by giving dana, then is it possible to bring under control by shama and bheda? This is what Arjuna's question is. No, this lust is very great demon. It's just a powerful demon that you cannot, you know, uh, you just cannot make any friendship with him. You cannot, by dhana and by bheda, you cannot subdue him. That's the problem because he's Mahapapma. Mahapapma. Hearing this, now this is Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Hearing this question from Arjuna, Bhagavan replied, "It is lust born from the mode of passion which impels a person to act sinfully." These are impulses. The stimulus are there inside and they get stimulated because of either internally on its own or externally stimulated through the sense objects. The very nature of lust is to enjoy the object of the senses. Lust takes shelter of the mode of passion, Rajaguna, and then there is some obstacle on attaining the desired result. It then takes the shelter of mode of ignorance, Tamaguna, and transforms into anger. Sangat sanjayate kama, kamat krodha bijayate. Lust is extremely fearsome and all consuming. So fearsome is Mahapapma and Mahaashnav. Understanding nothing but lust to be the main enemy of the understand nothing but lust to be the main enemy of the souls. It is the main. Vidhi iha. Vidhi. Now Bhaktivinoda Thakur is focusing here on who is your enemy. Understand. There is no one in this world who is your enemy than this. Iha. Iha this. Vairinam. Vidhi iha vairinam. So that's what, is being mentioned by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So I'll just go through all these verses in the series and then today stop for the question. Vidhi, 3.36, 37. Vidhi, enam. Vidhi, enam. Enam, this lust, understand this. It is a very, it is our greatest enemy. There is no other enemy. Now, the degrees of lust and how the lust is all pervading in this universe. And the degrees are mentioned. Dhumena vrita yatadarsho malena cha yatolvena vrito garbha tata tenadam avritam. As fire is covered by smoke. Yatha dhumena. Dhumena is smoke. Avrita vahani. Vahani means fire. Agni. The mirror by dust. Adarsho malena. Mirror, Mala means dust. Or embryo by the womb. Yatha ulbena avrito garbha. So the universe is covered by lust. Tata tena idam avritam. So the whole universe is covered by lust. We are all, everyone within the universe is also covered by lust. And this covering of the whole universe by this lust is in 3 degrees, and 3 examples are given. One is fire smoke. It refers to human species. The nature of covering is thin and penetrable. That means from there you can, come to self-realization. Dust and mirror refers to animals, thick and tough to penetrate. And womb and child refers to plants, super thick and penetrable only after long effort. So even in humans, the coverings can be of these degrees also. It's not, doesn't mean, this is a generic, categorization. It's a general classification, but you can have also specific like that. The degrees can be, like in the humans who are having lower consciousness like animals, so the degrees are more than those who are in the, lesser modes, the sattva guna, what then it is thin like that. Also, you can do that. Okay, lust is not just an enemy of some, but an enemy of all. This is explained with examples. The examples illustrate various degrees of lust, shallow, deep, and very deep. The fire, though covered by smoke, still performs its function of burning. So self-realization is possible there. The burning of fire is self-realization. Because of the disappearance of its natural clarity, the mirror covered by dust does not carry out its function of reflecting images properly, though it is known as mirror by its form, in spite of the dust covering. You might call it as a mirror, but it's covered by dust, but it's not performing its functioning. So this is a more, deep covering. The fetus covered by the womb cannot perform its function of stretching its hands and feet. That's why trees are supposed to be, they cannot exhibit lust. The animals can, still manifest a lust in the form of mating, but trees cannot mate because, and that's why it is said that those who do illicit sex, their consciousness also becomes like tree, exposing the body, and that's why material nature gives them the form of a tree, gives them the form of a tree. So in that, consciousness, they so uh, stunted that, they cannot exhibit that, they are completely helpless. So that's what, Vishwanath Thakur said. Its true form cannot be understood within that covering. So the true form of the mirror or the true form of the what is there inside, because embryo is covered, you cannot see inside. Thick covering is there, so you cannot see the true form. When lust is shallow, it is possible to remember the spiritual goals. So that's what I mentioned. Humans, when lust is deep, it is not possible. When it is very deep, one becomes unconscious. So trees, in one sense, trees have soul, but as good as they are unconscious, because when you cut, also they cannot feel the pain, cannot speak. That's what. In this way, the universe idam is covered by lust, idam. So everything, lust is all pervading in this universe. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the whole world is covered by that very lust, in some places mildly, in some places deeply, and in some places very deeply. I will illustrate this with an example. Please listen. A conscious jiva who is mildly covered with lust, just as fire is covered by smoke, can perform remembrance of Bhagavan, for example. This is a situation of jiva who has taken the shelter of Nishkam Karma Yoga and whose consciousness is a little open. Mukulita Chetana. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives, he discusses in his other works. I don't know, I don't recollect which work it is, where he discusses about these 5 types of consciousness. Mukulita Chetana, he says. Mukulita means it is little open. It is Mukulita Chetana. Chetana is little open. As in the budding stage of the flower, the, the flower is budding means that it's opening. Even if the conscious jiva has a human body, when his consciousness is deeply covered by lust, like a mirror covered by dust, then it is not possible for him to remember the supreme controller. So I mentioned that even in case of human beings, you can take these 3 categories. So I did not know this, frankly speaking. No, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is writing about it. He's speaking about it. So this is what uh, he is speaking in this. This is the condition of extreme moralist and atheist, or the jiva whose consciousness is shrunken, contracted, sankuchita chetana. This examples of this are animals and birds. It says sankuchita chetana. You come across this word sankuchita. In what context we use this? You remember? Can someone share, throw some light? You know, sankuchita. Anyone would like to? In Hindi also this word is there. Sankuchita. Veer Krishnaji. Sankuchita. Are you there with us?
Hare Krishna, bro. Sankuchit means basically it is very, I mean, what do you call it? It is very,
No, in Hindi, when you use this in a normal language, no?
Hindi it is used. Sankuchit means it is very constricted, very
Constricted,
narrow.
sometimes some people
Yes.
are like that, they are not so open-minded, they're what कंजूस type ही रहते हैं, and they're just holding everything to themselves, contracting.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that time we use this, you know about
Sankuchit.
that, right? Yeah. A jiva, yeah, I agree with you. A jiva whose consciousness is covered by intense lust. Now, jiva, it is, again, it can be like the embryo covered by the womb, possesses completely covered consciousness. Achadita chetana. Examples are creepers, stones, and trees. Achadit, completely discovered. So these three, Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives, but there are 5 classifications also in his other works. There are other higher states of consciousness. Mukulit is little open. Still, there are higher levels. And Prafullit or something, I don't remember the terminologies. This is just the budding stage, and then opening of that, one term he uses, and then fully blossom. Fully blossom consciousness is Krishna consciousness, for a kind information. So he gives that. So of course he uses jivas again. Here the examples are possible for humans, but he gives other references. But even somebody is can be also in this kind of chetana. You can it's possible. So now it was mentioned in the previous verse that Yathol ulbena garbhas tata tenidam avritam. It is covered. So covering what it does, this verse speaks. Avritam jnanam etena jnanino nityavairina kamarupena kaunteya dushpuranalena cha. The knowledge of the knower, jnanina jnanam. So please mark this. The knowledge of the knower. Now, this again, I am sure we are not familiar with this terminology. Jnanam is knowledge. Jnanina is the knower. Who is the knower? Who is the knower? Just food for thought to think. You know knowledge, but who is the knower? Knower. Tukaram Prabhuji. Are you there, Tukaram Prabhuji? Harshradha Mataji. Who is knower? Natwar Gaur Prabhuji.
Krishna Bhuji, knower.
Knower, I'm asking that question. Who is
Yeah,
knower?
yeah.
Who is it? 13th chapter, it all comes, but it's a very Keshavnath Prasad Prabhuji.
Uh, knower should be the soul, Prabhuji, I think.
Yes, yes. Only, conscious being can know. It's the soul. It's a soul. Only a conscious being can do inquiry, no? What is happening? It's a soul. Knower, and he can know. Knowledge, Jnani, is covered, avritam, by this eternal me, etena nitya vairina, in the form of lust, kama rupena, in the form of lust, which is like an unsatisfied fire. Dushpurena analena. Dushpurena analena. Vishnu Chakatakur. This verse explains that lust is indeed ignorance of the jiva. Avritam jnanam. No? Avritam jnanam. It covers the jiva. Indeed, ignorance of the jiva. Agyan, it puts you in agyan. For it covers the knowledge of the jiva. It puts him in agyan. The phrase eternal enemy indicates that lust must be at all means be killed. Lust by all means be killed. Jnanina nitya Jnanino nitya Nitya means is the eternal enemy. By this ignorance in the form of lust, compared to an unsatisfied fire, knowledge is covered. Dushpurena analena means, the fire, lust is like fire, and by satisfying lust, the fire should douse. No, the fire will burn more. It's like fuel adding to fire. The fire will grow. That's what Prabhupada in his commentary mentions from the Manu Samhita. So Vishwanath Chakravarti, see, let us see what he is saying. It is said, Na jatu kama kamana upabhogen shamyati havishya Krishna vartma eva bhuya eva abhivardate. As fire, Krishna vartma eva increases more and more, bhuya eva abhivardate, by supplying oblations, havishya. Lust, kamanam kamaha, can never be pacified. Na jatu shamyati, by enjoyment, upabhogena. Again from the 19th chapter. Oh, this is 9:19:14. That was 9:19:13, which we had read. Bhaktivinoda Thakur. This lust is indeed ignorance of the jivas, and it is its eternal enemy, nitya vairina. It covers the conscious jiva like an overwhelming fire. Avrita. Avritam jnanino jnanina nitya vairina. Just as I, Sri Bhagavan, am conscious being, similarly the jiva is also conscious entity. The difference between my nature and that of the jiva is that I am infinitely conscious and omnipotent, whereas the jiva is atomically conscious and only act because of the energy I give him. So the Lord is called as, Vibhu. Vibhu Chaitanya. That is, his consciousness is infinite. And the jiva is called as Anu Chaitanya. Infinitesimally small it is. The Lord has infinite consciousness. His consciousness is spread all over the universe, and he's conscious of everything what is happening in the universe. The eternal occupation of the jiva is to be my eternal servant. So this is also another difference. So the Vibhu Chaitanya is the master, and the jiva is the servant. So that is the relationship between the two. That is the relationship between the two. This is called prema. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, this is called prema. Acting in that relationship between master and servant is prema, or nishkama jaiva dharma, he says. The dharma of the soul, the eternal, selfless, unalloyed function of the living entity. Very beautiful term. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written a book called also as Jaiva Dharma. Very powerful novel it is. In the form of a novel, he has written Conversation. And it is one of the classic works, Jaiva Dharma. One should, at one point, in his Krishna conscious practice, study Jaiva Dharma. Very, very important book. Because Jaiva Dharma is like a complete, in any field you go, you have various subjects, and all these various subjects have different books you have to study. But for Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, there's one book, Jaiva Dharma, which all the subjects are combined and put in one. There is Bhagavad Gita, there is Bhagavatam, there is, Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, everything, everything is there in one book. So it's a very systematic, it's one of the most classic books, on theology, systematic theology, Jaiva Dharma. And right from the basic philosophical questions of Bhagavad Gita, it begins and it goes to the highest, rasa of Golok Vrindavan. Wonderful, wonderful work it is, Jaiva Dharma. Every conscious being by his constitutional nature is endowed with free will. It is therefore by his own free will, that he is my eternal servant. According to the degree to which he properly uses this free will, he can act as my eternal servant. The misuse of that pure free will is called avidya, ignorance or lust. So avidya is also in the form of, avidya kama karma bhi. Because of avidya, we desire to enjoy separate from Krishna, and we do karma and we get entangled. Those jivas who do not serve me by correctly using their free will have to accept lust and enjoying mode, which is the perverted form of the jiva's pure state, prema. So Prabhupada in this purport mentions, love of God turns into lust. So that's what Prabhupada, he mentions when the living entity comes in contact with metal, his eternal love of God is transformed into lust. So that's what, because all the creation means mode of passion. As they become more and more covered by degrees of this lust, they gradually become like inert matter. This is called karma bandhan, the bondage of the living entity due to karma. Avidya kama karma bhi I mentioned. Kunti Maharani in the presses. It is also called samsara yatana, journey of the agonizing birth and death. Agony. You have to go through the agony of birth and death. Okay. Now, where is this lust situated? What are the seating places of lust? In this verse speaks. Indriyani mano buddhir asyadishthanamuchyate eter vimohatyaktesha jnanamavritta dehinam. The senses, mind and the intelligence. Indriyani mano buddhi are the seats of this lust. Asya adhishtanamuchyate. It said, these are the seating places of lust. When you want to, in a war, when you have to, attack an enemy, you have to know where is he located. So, nitya iha vairinam. It is mentioned, vidhi iha vairinam. So now we have to know where this enemy is. The enemy is seated in the senses, mind and intellect. Lust, covering the knowledge of the soul. Jnanam avrita dehinam, bewilders the soul. Vimohayate esha. Where is this lust situated? This verse explains. The great fortress and the cities of this enemy lust, Adhishtanam, are the senses, mind, and intelligence. Now, based on this, we are going to figuratively draw a diagram, and you all will answer in the diagram. I will narrate it, and you will answer this fortress. You will draw this fortress and senses, mind, and intellect, and you will identify, what is what. So, hear carefully. And the sense objects starting with sound. Note the sense objects or the Vishaya are sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. Okay. Should be. And the provinces. Note the provinces nourish the ruled by the king called lust. That is the sense. The provinces are what nourishes. Lust bewilders Jeva, Devinam, by covering knowledge, using the senses, mind, and intelligence. Senses, mind, and intelligence. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, when the pure cognizant living entity, cognizance means your conscious cognizance, accepts a body, a big is cognizance. He is known as Dehi, embodied soul, As long as lust dwells, it should be, I think. A lot of mistakes. I think I'll have to tell someone to, I'll just have to check. Dwells, yeah. dwells in the senses, mind, and intellect, intelligence, it keeps the knowledge of the living entity covered. The subtle state of lust is avidya. So the subtlest level of lust is avidya. It is this ignorance only that originally offers a jiva, who is an atomic conscious entity with a pure ego, the initial veil of ignorance, material false ego. The avidya is what covers the jiva, and who is having pure ego as a servant. It gives the initial veil, the covering, by which he has a ahankar. Material intelligence acts as a shelter for this lust or ignorance. So for this avidya, this false identity that I am this body, the material intelligence starts functioning. And the material intelligence plans, and through the mind and the senses, and enjoys sense objects. Later, when the material false ego is developed, material intelligence provides the mind as the second shelter of lust. The mind then runs after sense objects. The mind runs after, sense objects it is. Sense objects then provide the senses as the third place for the shelter of lust. Taking shelter of these three places, lust casts the living entity into the enjoyment. So ultimately, it's avidya. It's the subtlest form of lust. From avidya, material intelligence takes shelter of it, then mind and the senses. So how subtle it is. When the living entity turns towards Bhagwan by his own will, again it should happen on our own will, because love means it has to have freedom, and then there has to be free will. Own will, it is called knowledge or vidya. And when he will fully become averse to Sri Bhagwan, it is called avidya. When he becomes fully averse, when he willfully, not will and fully, willfully it is, willfully becomes averse to Sri Bhagwan, it is called avidya. So turning our consciousness towards the Lord, when we turn towards the Lord, then it is vidya, and turning away is avidya. Again here, now these terms of vidya and avidya are used in context of Nishkam Karma Yoga, but in Bhakti it will be different, so don't worry about it now. But now, having explained where the sitting place is, he is again now he is tasmat, he is saying, therefore, Tvam indriyanyado niyamya bhartarshava papamanam prajahyenam jnana vijnana nashanam. Now I forgot actually. I told you all that we'll do a figurative diagram, and so suppose we all have idea of the Red Fort in Delhi. Now the Red Fort, this is the Red Fort. Now this is where the chamber of the king is there inside, or where there is you can say there is a diamond kept. And this Red Fort is having gates, there are gates in different directions, entry doors. Okay. Now, in all these gates, because the news has come that terrorists are going to, attack and take this diamond. So immediately, the government sends all these troops, soldiers. The soldiers are all there, everywhere, in all the gates, they're there. Okay. All the gates, they are there. Now, this is the main gate. Please hear very carefully, because you have to answer. This is the main gate. And there, on the main gate, in every gate also, but I'm speaking here about the main gate, there are soldiers, and then there is a screening. The screening is there. In the airport, the screening, this are there. And then there is a person who is operating it. And then there is a main army commander chief. Army commander. And this is the person who's scanner, who's there. This is a scanning instrument. And then a terrorist with a suitcase in his hand, and there is a huge bomb which is kept. He comes from the main gate. Now, first the soldiers are there. In the front also there are soldiers, please remember that. And they check him. And they check and they see the suitcase also. They open it also. And they allow him inside. And he goes to the screening. In the screening, this scanner sees what is inside. And he informs the commander-in-chief. And then he informs him, "Sir, there is a huge detonator bomb in the suitcase." He says him, "Allow him." And from this gate, he goes, enters, the main chamber, places the suitcase, activates it, goes out, and it detonates. And there is a huge bomb. Now, with respect to this analogy, this fort is what? Who will answer? It's a figurative analysis. The fort is what? Who will answer this? What is the fort? Keshavnath Prasad Prabhuji. Yes.
Senses, Prabhuji. Should be senses, I
Think
think.
carefully, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Think a little more carefully. Niti Sibyl Mataji. Yes. Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, is this a metaphor for our body?
Yes. Perfect.
And
This
is
is a
this
metaphor for our
gates?
matter.
And are these gates the
Wait, one
senses?
after the.
Okay.
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
So this is the body. Okay. So now carefully hear, everyone. Now this is the body. And now, what are these gates? Now, what is the gates? Who will answer? Gates. Okay. Yes, Nidhi Mataji.
Prabhuji, are these senses?
Yes, they are the senses. The senses. Okay, now these, this terrorist who is coming and
May
trying
I
to
answer
enter
that? May I answer
through
this?
yes.
Is it lust that you're talking about?
But in general, what in the analogy of the body, senses, what others, these from the outer, they come, inside. They're the sense objects.
Hanji. Yes, sir. Sorry.
They're the sense objects. Okay.
Hmm.
Now,
Should I
this
unmute
scanner.
myself?
One second. I don't know how. Okay. Yeah. Now the scanner is what? The scanner is what? Govinda Nandini Mataji, yes. Govinda ji, yeah, okay, yes.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, is it intelligence?
Huh?
Intelligence.
Scanner, think about it, think about it a little more carefully.
Mind or intelligence?
Yes, it is mind. It is the mind. The scanner is the mind, actually. The scanner is the mind. And the scanner is the mind. And that main commander, who is the final person through which that person cannot enter into the terrorist. Who is that? Who is this in respect to the analogy of our body? Tukaram Prabhuji, yes. Tukaram Prabhuji, yes. He lets him, na? After he's informed also that, boss, in the suitcase there's a bomb. Okay, let it go, he says. Who is this? Commander, main commander. Tukaram Prabhuji.
Intelligence. Hare Krishna, can you hear
It
me?
is the intelligence. Yeah, I heard you. Intelligence. And then, now the king or the diamond is what? Yes, Govinda Nandini Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Huh? Yes.
Sense object.
You have to speak.
Sense object.
Mataji, already sense object is over. Sense object is over. The sense object is that, what was allowed to enter, the terrorist carrying the bomb. It's already over. I hope you are with us in the whole discussion. We have already discussed
Yes.
sense object. Okay, Vinita Mataji.
Prabhuji, is it the soul and super soul, the king and the diamond?
Okay. We need not go to the super soul now. It is the soul.
Soul.
And it is consciousness. So what is the diamond-like thing, is our consciousness, which is to be Krishna conscious. So he goes and bombs it. So our consciousness, when you enjoy sense object, gets polluted. Our heart gets polluted, So this is there in the form of a figurative diagram. So by figurative things, we can, understand the Siddhanta, the principle more better. Tasmat tvam indriyanado niyama bhartarshava papmanam prajahiyenam jnana vijnana nashanam. Therefore, tasmat. Having given this knowledge now, having given the knowledge, so he's now concluding the discussion, what you should do. As a first step, ado, by controlling the senses, indriya niyama, best of the Bharat lineage, Bharat kill this demon. Tom prajahi, jahi means to conquer or to kill. He enam papam, kill this lust, which is a formidable demon, which destroys knowledge and intelligence. Jnana vijnana nashanam, it destroys the consciousness. The rule is that by conquering the shelters of enemy, the enemy can be conquered. Wherever the enemy has taken shelter, you hit that. So in army, these are the strategies. In the recent, Operation Sindoor, the first targets were the terrorist sites. They were first shot. It's a very powerful strategy. The devotee has to become a spiritual warrior. The shelters of lust are the senses, the mind, and the intelligence, which are respectively increasingly difficult to conquer. Senses are gross, and senses, I had put some soldiers in the front, which means our discrimination should be there, what to allow and what to not allow. We have to have guards. And okay, let's go into the analogy a little bit. This main gate I told, and I had drawn 5 gates here. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So which are the 5 gates? Tell me now. We are going a little more deeper into this analogy. What are these 5 gates? Senses, you said. Which are the 5? Who will answer this? Tukaram Prabhuji. Yes, Tukaram Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. These are the, vision, hearing,
Eyes.
tongue, eyes, and
touching, screen and smell.
Yes, yes, excellent. Now you tell me, okay, one more has also raised. Now you tell, Lord, let us tell this main gate. Which one is that among the five? Which one is the main gate? Niti Sibal Mataji.
So we discussed the five senses. Intellect is the one or what, sir? I can't.
No,
Is
no, no.
intellect
Only
no?
five gates are the five Gyanindriyas. Eyes
Okay.
and ears,
The five senses.
nose, tongue, and
Hanji.
touch.
Hanji. Yeah.
So among these five, I have drawn one as the main gate.
Hmm.
So which is this among the five? Which one is this among the five? Which is this main gate? Which one is that? Whether it is the nose or the ear or the eye or the tongue or the
Tongue, Prabhuji?
mm,
I may be wrong.
or
I'm so
let's hear
sorry.
from others. No, no problem. In one way, that's also right answer because Taramadhe Jivati. But that is from one perspective, it is correct. But there are other perspectives also. But in this context, among the five senses, which one is that? Tukaram Prabhuji, yes. Yes. Yes, Tukaram Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. It is eyes, because that is the first.
It is the eyes. Main gate. Main gate is eye, correct. The eye, actually the eyes put you on illusion. And in the first chapter, Pasha. Sorry. Pasha, he said, you want to see? Pashyam itim kuru. And by telling that, Krishna put Arjuna into illusion. Of course, it is Yogamaya arrangement because he had to speak Gita. And then all the words have come. Pashya, Tatra Pashyam Sitan Pata. So the eyes put us into illusion and the ears take us out of illusion. By hearing Shastra, we come out of illusion. So that's also. So the senses, are, there. More difficult to control is the mind, conquer, and more difficult is the intelligence. So the purification of the senses is the most important thing in Karma Yoga. And even in Bhakti Yoga, for your kind information. The more devotee uses his hands, his legs, his ears in hearing Krishna Katha, his eyes in taking darshan, he more decorates himself beautifully by wearing, nice earrings in the form of hearing Harikatha. The more he, uh, does seva, by which the sense of touch is purified. And the more he takes prasadam, all his senses are getting purified. So that's how sense control is achieved in Bhakti Yoga. But in Nishkam Karma Yoga, there is actually, he has to really niyam, he has to do niyam also. Of course, in Krishna consciousness also there is regulation, but it is more easier in Bhakti Yoga because there is engagement in direct. So here there is more of restraining. Here there is engagement. So that's also there. So then the mind is still difficult because it's still subtler, and intelligence is the most difficult. The senses may be difficult to control, but they are easy to conquer than the other items. So senses also are difficult to control. So sense control is called in Sanskrit as Dhamma, and mind control is called as Shama. So Shama and Dhamma are the qualities of the Brahmana. He's able to control his mind and senses. So that's why Twasva Tvam Indriyanadu. Because the senses are the most gross and they are the outer outlets of lust, control the senses, beginning from the senses. Therefore, first the sensual should be conquered. You should control the senses. Though the uncontrollable mind wants to steal others' wives or properties. Now, this is referring to which verse, which it was mentioned, about, enjoying others' wives. In which verse this was mentioned? Anyone knows? Which verse did Vishwanath Chandra Thakur mention this? Which verse? Indriya, Raga Dvesha Vyavastito. Indriyasya Indriyarte Raga Dvesha Vyavastito? No. 1 minute, I am able to. Raga Dvesha Vyavastito. Tayorna Vashumagache Tohi Asya Paripantino. Indriyasya Indriyarthe Raga Dvesha Vyavastito. Indriyasya Indriyarthe. The senses are, fixed in their sense objects. That means the eyes, sense object is form, fixed. And there is raga, attraction. And who are obstructing, there is dvesh. So, we mentioned about difference between, the prakriti and vasana, the psychophysical nature and impression in the form of vasana. If a brahmana has sattvic impressions and is inclined to brahminical work, but yet he has a desire to marry, that is not considered as a vasana. It is harmonizable with dharma. He can legally get married. But after marriage, he desires to enjoy others' wives. That is vasana. And that he should not come under the control. Then it is stumbling block. So now Krishna is mentioning, Vishwanath Chakravarti is mentioning here now in the purport. In the purport, he is narrating this now. That, he's narrating. Though the uncontrollable mind wants to steal other wives or properties, one should not engage the senses by carefully considering the situation, the functions, senses such as eye, ears, hands, and feet. So one should not listen to the senses. The senses are senseless in one sense. Kill this ferocious lust, papmanam, prajayenam, jnana vijnanam, nashanam. This means by restricting the senses, after some time the mind will become freed from lust. Note, previously stopping the senses was not recommended, since the mind still will dwell on the sense objects. That is in the second chapter it was mentioned. Here Krishna is stating that the senses should be controlled by proper engagement but not stopped. And this will help control the mind from dwelling on the enjoyment. Mind and intelligence should also be controlled by suitable engagement, but ultimately, if effort is not made to understand the Atma and develop taste in the Atma, all endeavors to control senses, mind and intellect will be futile. So in Nishkam Karma, it will be Atma. For us, it is directly hearing about Bhagwan, Krishna Katha. So that is still more powerful method by which. So the more you hear Shastra, the purification of the mind and intelligence will happen. Because preaching means directly it is preaching to the intelligence. So the purification of the intelligence will happen. So this I'll come to when I discuss the next verse. Bhaktivinoda Thakur on this. Therefore, O best of the descendants of Bharata, by first controlling the senses and mind, conquer this extreme formidable lust which destroys both knowledge and realization of me. Destroying lust, which is a distortion of pure love of God, prema, reinstate yourself in your own constitutional nature by taking shelter of prema. The first commendable duty of a conditioned soul is to follow the principles of genuine renunciation and to pursue unprescribed duties. So this is in the path of Nishkam Karma Yoga. Thus, by gradually attaining the stage of sadhana bhakti, you should perform sadhana to attain prema bhakti. So directly speaking in the bhakti context now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, how this has to be applied. Unalloyed devotion is attained by my mercy or by the mercy of my devotee. Although it is very rare, in some cases it manifests without any cause. So that's what, Krishna Bhaktivinoda Thakur has to say about this. So I'll just take a few minutes more and finish this chapter because, then we finish this third chapter. And the series of flow is there, it will break up. So kindly, tolerate me for today. And please forgive me for starting also late. So I hope, you'll appreciate. Now, Tasmatvam Indriyani Ado, he gave. Now he is giving knowledge, of the hierarchy, how it is. Indriyani paranyahur, indriyabhya paramana, manasastu parabuddhi, yo buddhi parasastu sa. It is said that the senses are supreme. Indriyani paranya aho. But superior to the senses is the mind. Indriyabhya param mana. Superior to the mind is the intelligence. Manasastu parabuddhi. What is superior to the intelligence is Atma. Yo buddhi parasastu saha. Saha is the Atma here. So here you can see there are the sense objects, there is the senses, mind, intelligence, and soul. So this is the hierarchy which Krishna is speaking now. Indriyani paranahur. Indriyabhya paramana. Manasastu para buddhi. Now, actually, if you see in one sense, the soul has to take instructions from the super soul, dictation from the super soul, and do what is called as, prema, because the servant engaged in the Lord's service, prema. This is what is our relationship. Now, because he is in avidya, he has cut his relationship, with the super soul. Super soul is there, but he's cut now his relationship. And now the soul is covered by avidya in the form of ahankar, false ego, and it is under the dictation of the intelligence, mind, senses, and sense objects. Now, preaching actually happens to the intelligence. So, Guru, sadhu, and shastra. So, what happens by this? The intelligence is purified. Intelligence is purified. Gradual purification of the intelligence. Otherwise, the intelligence is under the dictation of avidya, lust. And because lust is avidya, the covering, lusty intelligence, is under the control of the mind. And mind is under the control of senses. Senses are control of sense objects, and one enjoys sense objects. So that's how the hierarchy is. So what happens now when we take up to Krishna consciousness by hearing Guru Sadhana, the purification of the intelligence starts. And gradually, with the purified intelligence, we control the mind, thereby control the senses, and then not engage in sense objects. So that's how it happens. And then when the intelligence is completely purified, then what happens? Then, the soul can directly take dictation from the super soul or the spiritual master also, because the spiritual master is also the representative of the spiritual and engage in devotional service. So until the subtle body is completely purified, that means the, intelligence is purified. Till then, one should, take instructions from Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. And also after that also one should take definitely. So what is contaminated intelligence? Intelligence. The intelligence which is under the dictation of the senses and sense objects. And what is purified intelligence? You can take this as material intelligence also. Material intelligence, which is product of avidya, and purified intelligence, spiritual intelligence, or pragya. Pragya, what was called as pragya, purified intelligence. So, intelligence which is under the dictation of the soul, it follows the dictation of the soul. And thereby, the soul controls the intelligence, the soul controls the mind, senses, and thereby one is not engaged in sense objects. So that is the hierarchy here. So now let's see what Vishnu Chakravarti says. One should not try to conquer over the mind and intelligence first because of the impossibility that is conveyed in this verse. The senses are considered superior, for they cannot be conquered even by warriors who conquer the 10 directions. That's how difficult it is to control the senses also. Conquer the senses. But the mind is superior to the senses and it is even stronger, not being destroyed during dreams when the senses do not function. So when you close your eyes, you can think about sense objects. The mind is dreaming. And what control you have, enjoying sense objects in the mind, you don't have any control. But compared to the mind, the intelligence in the form of Vigyan is stronger. During deep sleep, even the mind does not function, but the intelligence remains undestroyed, being present in a general form. Intelligence is there, Shushupti, in deep sleep. But compared to the intelligence, that which is superior in strength, because it exists in you, even when intelligence is destroyed by the practice of Gyan, which is a famous Jivatma, which is the conqueror of lust. So, now if you don't understand this statement, don't worry, even when the intelligence is destroyed, because by jnana, the subtle body is destroyed completely. And one has to give up even jnana at the time of liberation, because one has to give up the gross and subtle body also, right? In order to attain liberation. So one gives up that process of jnana, and within that jnana, there is the bhakti element. And that bhakti element will give that jnani liberation, because jnana doesn't give the fruit. I am sure mentioned Nishkam Karma Yoga doesn't give its fruits. The bhakti, which is element, which is there in the secondary form, which is called as Gunibhuta. That's why it's called as Gunibhuta Bhakti. The secondary, that seed of devotion I mentioned, that, it is offered to the Lord, Yagyartha Karmano Anantara, that is the seed of devotion I had mentioned. So, the intelligence also destroyed, but the Jivatma is what? He is, he is the strongest Balwan, because he is transcendental, one thing. He can conquer lust, that's what. After conquering the senses, mind, and intelligence, the Jivatma, which is the most powerful of all of them, can conquer lust. So directly realize that you are Jivatma and you have nothing to do with the intelligence, mind, and senses. So this is what Vishwanath Chakravarti is actually giving, understanding, which is a little difficult, because Baldev Darshan and Prabhupada, uh, uh, directly, give this instruction, that the intelligence, spiritual intelligence, Prabhupada says, or superior direction of Guru and Sadhu, you control the mind, when we start hearing instructions, on Bhagavad Gita or whatever courses we start attending in ISKCON, we now discriminate. Soldiers come here, in the form of fast food, which is not offered to Krishna. Then, you'll use your intelligence. No, they have told this cannot be had. It is not offered to Krishna. So with intelligence, you are working, but your intelligence is guided by Guru, Sadhu, and Shastras. So, but here, what Vishwanath Chakravarti is trying to say, that the soul, is superior to even the intelligence. So the Jivatma is the Mahan, the most powerful. So I am not going to enjoy the senses. If I decide who is the I, that's the soul. So then thereby control the intelligence, mind, and senses. All are controlled. Like that, Vishwanath Chakravarti is giving the explanation. It is thus understood that it is not an impossible task to conquer lust. So that's what he says. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I am explaining to you in brief that your real identity is that of a soul, a jiva. So that is now, in one sense, Sankhya was mentioned, analysis between matter and spirit, but first time that soul has come up here in the third chapter in this verse. You have accidentally become bound by inert matter. Now you identify yourself with the senses, mind, and intelligence. This is delusion, and it is created by avidya. The senses are superior and more subtle than inert matter. Indriyani paral ahur. The mind is superior and more subtle than the senses. Indriyabhya paramana. The intelligence is superior and more subtle than the mind. Manasastu para buddhi. And the soul or the self is superior even to the intelligence. Yo buddhi parasastu saha. So that's what he gives the hierarchy also. He's following Vishwanath Chakravarti, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is following Vishwanath Chakravarti. Now, evam buddhe param buddhva samstabhya atmana jahi shatrum mahabaho kama rupa durasadam. Evam, thus understanding. Thus understanding what? I'll ask the question. Thus understanding what? Thus understanding what? If you can answer this, 100 marks I can say. Dear Krishna Prabhuji, okay. Anyone else can. Understanding what? Understanding what? Okay. Someone else also. Yes. Tukaram Mishkin Prabhuji. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I am not body, I am soul.
Wonderful. Wonderful. 100 marks. Evam Buddhe, understanding that, the soul is the topmost superior thing, and there is above that, super soul is not, but here We are speaking about self-realization. So understanding Buddha that the soul is superior to the intelligence, Buddhe Param, being established in the self by the self. Now, please hear very carefully and try to understand this. Again, it is little difficult, and I will give you the explanation of what Prabhupada has to say on this. That is easy to understand, but try to first understand this from the commentary. Established in the self by the self. Samsabhya Atmana Atmana. Destroy the enemy, Jai Shatru, in the form of Kam. Kama Rupam. Kam is given a form. So when you personify anything, especially in the subtle things to analyze, you have to personify them. Be personified through a figurative meaning of the fortress, Like that, it becomes easy. For everything, you can do this personification, and there are various Shastric examples, which is difficult to conquer, Durastam. Now, please try to hear this. Conquer being established by, in the self by the self. This verse concludes the topic. Understanding that the Jivatma is superior to the intelligence, understanding that it is separate from all coverings, destroy the unconquerable lust by being firm in the self by the self. Because the self is the Atma. And when the Atma decides, I am not going to enjoy the senses, that is being situated in the self. That I am this Atma. I am not going to shake because of the intelligence which is proposing me, or the mind which has got the input from the senses, from the sense objects. No. Okay, note. Baldev, Ramanuja, Madhva, Sridhar all take the words as fixing the mind by the intelligence. The justification for Vishwanath's version, Shankar also holds the same view, could be that the self is the strongest and therefore should be established in its position first. But that can only be done by itself. The Atma only can, I myself, when I decide not to do, no, nobody can shake me. So that's what. Not by something inferior. When the soul is firm, then it controls senses, mind, intelligence, and lust. So that's how Vishwanath Chakravarti does. This chapter chiefly speaks of Nishkama Karma as a sadhana and also speaks of Gyan, its goal, in a secondary way. So there is a lot of Gyan given here. This refers to the verses starting from 39. Tasmatvam Indriyana. So Gyan is given. And what is that Gyan given? Indriyani Paranehur, Indriyabhya Paramana, Manasastu Parabuddhi, Evam Buddhe Paramadva. So this is all Gyan given here. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur. In this way, with the help of transcendental knowledge of the soul, know yourself to be the superior to all mundane identification with the senses, body, mind, and intelligence, aprakat tattva. And also know yourself to be my eternal servant. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is taking understanding at the bhakti level. Thus become steady by the grace of my transcendental knowledge potency, the Chit Shakti, and destroy this formidable lust. So that's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur Chit Shakti means, the Bhakti Shakti. Please remember that. Now just 2 minutes I'm going to take. And please see how Prabhupada is translating this. Now, Evam Buddhe Param Buddhva Samsad Atmana Atmanam. So Atmana, Prabhupada says, control the mind by deliberate intelligence. And Prabhupada in the translation, see, by spiritual intelligence, by spiritual intelligence, deliberate spiritual intelligence. That is Krishna consciousness. And I brought out this in the form of a diagram, which you could relate to Guru Sadhu. So this is spiritualizing intelligence. So samstabhya atmana atmana means by spiritual intelligence control the mind, thereby senses, and then don't entangle the senses and sense objects. So this is very practical, So Prabhupada, Baldev Vidyabhushan, Madhvacharya take this, because the intelligence is superior, but intelligence is now corrupt, and the mind has overpowered the intelligence. And actually the intelligence, the mind should be subservient to the intelligence, but now the intelligence is subservient to the mind because it is contaminated. It is. So the mind drags the intelligence and plans to enjoy the senses and sense objects. So when the intelligence starts getting purified, with the purified intelligence, control the mind, thereby the senses. So that's what Prabhupada explains. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is giving a deeper understanding. When I am firm, that I am not this body, I am spirit, soul, and I am not going to engage, that Bhirta, because this is the topmost. Indriyabhya param mana, manasastu para buddhi, yo buddhi parasastu sa. So from that context, Vishwanath Thakur is giving a deeper explanation. So that ends our discussion for today. Thank you very, very much. That we now complete the third chapter and then we begin the fourth chapter. So any questions you have, I can take up. Any questions, any clarifications? One. Okay. Just one question. Okay. Bir Krish Prabhuji, yes. Tukaram Prabhu also has a question. Yes. Bir Krish Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, can we say that turning away our consciousness from Lord itself is a subtle form of lust?
Yes, that's what from there, that's a original seed of our, enjoying propensity, that is turning away.
And
Krishna
that's causing
Bahirmukha
ignorance.
Bhogavancha kare. Krishna Bahirmukha Bhogavancha kare. That itself, that's what that subtlest is avidya. That's what Vishnu Chakatakur also brought out in the purport. That itself is it. And that avidya, uh, uh, pursues with the intelligence, the mind, and the senses. All are corrupted in that sense. And all
And
are.
Prabhu, yes, Prabhu, and I mean, for devotees, this samadhama, instead of doing samadhama, we are engaging our, I mean, faculties in devotional activities. This is how we are controlling, no? Not following samadhama exactly.
Well, in one sense, no, also in one sense, yes, also. No, because from Rupa Goswami's perspective of sadhana bhakti, vacho vegam, manasa vegam, krodha vegam, so if you see, then there is control of all these senses. So Rupa Goswami is mentioning then why, Shama and Dama are angas of Gyan and Ashtanga. They are not angas of bhakti. But
Yes,
yet,
yes.
when you come under the control of these Vegas, then what happens? They can be an obstacle in bhakti. So from the perspective of Sharnagati, they are pratikul. So that is why, they have to be also, controlled, Vacho Vegam, one who is able to tolerate these urges of the tongue, mind, all these, so like that. But there is a Krishna conscious method of engaging them and regulating them. So that is a positive aspect what bhakti has. Whereas the main sadhana in Nishkam Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga is, uh, controlling them. But here there is engagement, and also then when you are engaging, also if the senses are, not controlled, while engagement also they can go astray, right? That's why we saw, Tani Sarvani Sanyamya. You have to understand the simple analogy of the horses. The horses are senses, the reins is the mind, the chariot is the intelligence, and the passenger is the soul sitting in the chariot, which is the body. Now, first of all, the senses, horses, when you're in a horse race, horses are made to drink. They are given intoxication so that, they get really intoxicated and become, really charged up and they start running speed. So the horses run very fast. So the senses run towards the sense objects at very, very high speed. You cannot even imagine the speed. At what speed they run. Millions of kilometers they can cover in nanoseconds. Got the point? That speed they are. So first thing is, they're all in all five senses are on all five senses. Now you have to get them first. You have to engagements, you have to get them first together, right? Now when you sanyamya means to you get them first. Now don't go in these wrong directions. Now you engage them in bhakti. You engage them in shravana. So when you give that also the right food for them, Krishna Prasad, but still, they can go astray, right? Because they are
Right.
intoxicated towards sense objects. So, Tani Sarvani same mein Yukta Asit. Yukta Asit means you have to engage them. Vashayasi Indriyani. And while you are leaving the reins loose to engage them, at the same time, you should have control over the reins so that they might not go astray. Now, you know that while hearing, you are engaging your ears and hearing Harikatha, but still you will get distracted and you'll see there, right? Because still we are not controlled. Otherwise, you should never get distracted while hearing, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
that's it. Okay. Yes, Navneet Kalra Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Prabhuji, in the last purport of
Vishwanath
and there
Thakur.
is that state, yeah, there is this state when you are situated in the self, right? In the
Uh,
bhakti platform, at what stage do you get at that stage?
at the stage of Nishta.
Nishta.
At
Okay.
the stage of Nishta, you are self-realized in one sense.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
But in fact, let me tell you that, when one develops firm faith, when he has developed firm faith is that when he has understood the Shastra Yukti, understood the meaning of the Shastras, and Shastrartha Vishwas. When he has developed that Shastrartha Vishwas and he follows the injunctions of the Shastra, that firm faith, Shraddha Shabde Vishwas, Sudrida Nishchay, that firm faith, it comes, Vyavasatmika, that I have to do bhakti and I need not do anything, karma, jnana, yoga, ashtanga, sarva dharman parityajya, that is firm faith. That itself is also a very exalted platform. But with that bhajan, with that firm faith, when he starts practicing, very quickly he comes to the stage of Nishta. And at the stage of Nishta, in one sense, he is self-realized. Okay? For
It's
this, we have to study
so
Madhurya
yeah, yeah.
Kadamni. Madhurya Kadamni.
We did. We did.
Yes.
Because even in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there is the adhikar level is based on faith only, right? The
Yeah.
Uttam Adhikari and Madhyam
We
Adhikari.
cannot discuss that here at this point. When we study Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the deeper understanding and the purport of those verses is not easily understood. You will have to very carefully study it, and then you will understand that there are very deep meanings in that, about it.
Is it? But
So I'll
are
not
these things
be.
correlated?
Yes, it is correlated. It is correlated, but in this forum, I'll not be discussing about it because that itself is a, 1 or 2 hours topic. I'll have to explain that, and then, so I would refer that you can refer to those uh,
Lectures.
in a
Yeah.
separate forum. We can refer
Okay.
that.
Okay. Thank you,
Okay.
Prabhuji. Thank
Thank you. Tukaram Prabhuji. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes, I'm very clearly able to hear you.
yeah. I am. I was under the impression that Jiva is always silent, Atma. So, but we were discussing we should be in a platform where Jiva will command and mind intelligence will be subservient to it. How do I realize my?
Yes.
Of course, we can discuss it sometime later.
See, that is why, we are always under the dictation of the mind. And the mind is Mahan, Balwan, Bharat Balam, so it's very difficult, sometimes that's why, when we are in outside, when we are not in Krishna consciousness, there is no battle going on. But when
Yeah.
we start coming into Krishna consciousness, when we start hearing the philosophy, then we are really battling now. Because the battle is between the mind and the soul. The soul now understands, that this is not right for me. The mind is demanding, and the battle is going on internally. But the identification generally is with the mind. But I am
Yes.
the soul. So that kind of firmness should come. And from that perspective, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur is mentioning, that is also one understanding, but it is not so easy. That's why, I gave Prabhupada's explanation what it means, and even through the diagram I mentioned, with the purified intelligence control the mind. through Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Because, directly I, the soul, I am not going to enjoy. When you make that firm, because I am the soul. So that also
Yeah,
requires a level of,
yeah,
jnana in one
sadhana,
sense,
yeah,
in the
yeah,
practice of Nishkam Karma Yoga or in the Bhakti. Okay.
right, right. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you very, very much. Much grateful and obliged. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.